So when I was in 3rd grade, I started playing viola. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a viola is, it's like a violin, but it's about an inch bigger. And also, and I can't emphasize this enough, no one gives a single shit about it. I started playing viola instead of violin because my sister told me I'd make more money. Because there are fewer viola players, which doesn't make any sense at all, but I was 8, so I went with it. And when I got to high school, I started going to this regional orchestra. It's this big festival. And out of like thousands of violin players in the area, like the 20 best ones got to go to this orchestra. And then also, if you owned a viola, well, you could go if you felt like it. But you still had to audition for a seat. So in an orchestra, you're organized by seat ranking. And the purpose is to determine from greatest to least your value as a person. and so you're supposed to practice for these things, like for a long time. And I never really did that. But to make up for it, I just really worried about it. Really worried. To the point that I had to like just, for an hour or two a day, just sit in my room with my instrument and my music and just really put in some good work. And I did this every single year before this festival. But the winter of 11th grade was different because my mom had just gotten a yogurt maker. Like still all on board. So the way the yogurt maker worked is you had these little glass jars and you'd fill them up with milk and then you'd stick them in this box of warm air and just let them fester there for 8 hours. Like you'd sit on the kitchen counter, right next to the toaster oven, and they'd just fester there for an entire day. And I didn't feel good about the yogurt from the yogurt maker. I didn't feel good about it. And my mom didn't get it. She didn't understand why I liked yogurt from the store, but I didn't like the stuff that she made in the fester box. And it's because the yogurt that you buy at the store is cold when you get it. And you don't have to stick it in the fridge for 2 hours to make it less warm and festive. And so I just kept forcing myself to eat this yogurt because I couldn't convey with words how horrifying I found it to watch milk turn from a liquid into a solid in my kitchen where I eat. And so that took most of January, was the yogurt thing. And then it was time for this audition. So the way the audition worked is you went into the room and the people who were judging you didn't face you, they looked away from you. And you had kind of a stand there. And so I put my music on the stand and I tuned my A string and listen, because I'm going to say I believe this to be a universal truth. This is true for everyone always. No matter how fucked you are in any situation, there's always a moment where you're like, you know what? This shit might be okay. I think I got this. And so I put my bow on the string and I played the first note, and everything was not okay. Because that feeling is, it's a fucking lie. It's not true. And I just dissolved as a person into just like a puddle of suck on the floor, and I just sat there and just sucked for 3 minutes. And I think I got like 17th seat or something. Like there were a couple people who were more worthless than me. Not a lot. And in an orchestra, you have one stand for every 2 seats. So I had a stand partner. I didn't know this kid at all. We didn't talk. He was wearing a shirt that said something about Jesus on it. So like, I think he was into Jesus. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. Our only thing, like as partners, was just at the end of every song, we'd look at each other and go, and so we did that for 6 hours, and then I went home. And so I got home at the end of this day that was just full of disappointment and regret. And I went to get my book out of my backpack, and there was a container in there that I hadn't seen before. And so I pulled it out and opened it, and it was full of yogurt. My mom had packed it for me. And it had been sitting in my backpack all day, warming up. So the yogurt was really thin and watery, like it was trying to turn back. And there were these just tragic strawberries in it, these just like lifeless strawberry slices floating on the top of it. And all I wanted to do was throw it away, but I couldn't, because the whole day had been failure and regret and guilt, and I just couldn't throw this yogurt away on top of all of that. So I stood in the bathroom, and I grabbed these strawberries with my fingers, and they were just dripping with this pink yogurt water. And I ate them, one by one, not even chewing them, just letting them slide down my throat until they were gone. And what I was left with was about a ½ inch of this pink semi-yogurt in this container. And I was just stuck there looking at it like every mistake I've made in my entire life has led to this. And this is the sum of everything that's wrong with me and everything that I can't change about myself and everything I'm fighting against. And I was just stuck there because I couldn't figure out how the fuck I was going to get past all this shit. And eventually I washed the yogurt down the sink and I went to bed. Life is too hard, man, to have breakdowns over yogurt. It's too hard. There are real problems. This is the end of the story. There's nothing coming after this. I'm done. Just try to have some fucking perspective in your life. I mean, Jesus. Word.